Right, good evening, everyone. We're live for the 28th episode now of the No Punches Pulled podcast. JFT up top, LT Liam Tully down the bottom, boys. We're still recovering from what was a very controversial Saturday night, both in Belfast and Brooklyn. Let's hope for a little less controversy. Let's hope. Surprised we've seen Jay actually for tonight's episode, Liam. I thought he bought a private island with what happened on Saturday, but he is here. But yeah, how's things, boys? You well?
Yeah, good, mate. All good.
Sorry, I'm not answering you. I've got staff for that now. Please, boys, please. All good,
I love it. I love it.
Good. Fantastic weekend of fights. A bit of controversy, but ultimately, if we give an overview, it was a really good weekend in terms of boxing. We saw some good fights, some decent matchups. Yes, there was the controversy, but that's what keeps us wanting more and going back. And that's what
gives us talking points, doesn't it?
It does, but I also think it brings eyes and ears from outside of the sport, because when there's controversy bubbling under and being posted about, people that, I got asked at the weekend, I got asked on Monday when I went in about the fight at the weekend from a couple of people at work. Not that they knew what had gone on, they just knew that something had gone on. Yeah. So they were now talking about it, and ordinarily they wouldn't mention anything, regardless of who boxed.
I had my sister ask me about the fight in Ireland because she was in a pub with it on. She wasn't watching it, but she knew something had happened, and that's someone that isn't normally into boxing. She's like, "What happens?" And it's look, controversy isn't always a good thing when it messes up fighters' careers, but in terms of talking points and bringing eyeballs to the sport, it's fantastic. The conversations around X and the different opinions and stuff the last couple of days have been fantastic.
Listen,
that's what it's all about.
Let's be honest, right? And I'll move on after this, but the two winners from the weekend for me, other than myself, were the two guys that got the shit end of the stick, Lamont Roach and Paddy Donovan. Yeah. They are now both known around the world, right? Donovan, because he outboxed a guy that he wasn't really expected to do it so easily against, albeit he got the DQ. But look, you can argue the toss, whether it was right or wrong. Ultimately, the wrong man won that fight. Let's take the DQ out of it. Paddy Donovan was on his way to stopping Crocker. Whatever way we want to sugarcoat it, you called it, Liam, and it went to script, right? The other side of that is one of the pound-for-pounders, and let's not sugarcoat it, we've all mentioned it, whether we agree that he's a pound-for-pounder or not. Gervonta Davis has been talked about over the past couple of years as a pound-for-pound great, right? Regardless of what we think, that's what he is being lauded as. He was expected to just run over Lamont Roach Jr. and call out Shakur, anybody but, one of the bigger boys for a super fight, as they say, right? And Lamont Roach could have beat him. I've watched it twice now, and if Tank gets a 10-8 for that knockdown,
yes, no doubt about it. If that knockdown rolls,
he loses the fight, because I've scored it a draw and a 1-1-5, 1-1-3. So either way, Tank doesn't win, he gets a draw or he loses. So in losses, and we say this, don't we, about football teams, for example, in the FA Cup, Plymouth beat Liverpool, then got beat against Man City. But they did well in their defeat. They get, the plaudits for running the champions to the wire and making it difficult. It's very similar in boxing. You can be a winner in a loss. And I know it sounds cliche and bullshit and corny, but it's right. Because if Lamont Roach had got wiped out in 4 rounds like I thought he would have done, right? Yeah. We probably would have barely spoke about him today. We'd have spoke previously. We'd have spoke about Tank and what's next for Tank, but instead the conversations around them both.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean? So for me, they were two massive winners from the weekend.
Yeah, look, Marcus McDonald and Steve Willis has done us a solid, because by two substandard refereeing performances and moments, we have these talking points. Not having the count in round number 9 in Brooklyn gives the talk of, well, if that didn't happen on the scorecards, then Roach wins the fight. And Marcus McDonald forgetting that he was a boxing referee in the ring and had to break fighters up at the end of the round gives us the moment in Belfast. Look, we all agreed on Sunday that a DQ was the right thing after 2-point deductions, third offence, but it's that other moment that gives us the talking point. Does Paddy Donovan appeal to the IBF if it's, Marcus McDonald's doing his job properly, he may still do, but it wouldn't be anywhere near as interesting to us. Whereas now we can legitimately see a way where it gets overturned because you only have to look at Marcus McDonald with your own eyes to know he's not doing the job. And New York State have come out today and said that they're reviewing round number 9. So they could either order an immediate rematch or change the result. They have the power to do out there. Look, I don't know which.
They'll null and void it. I think they'll do what they did with Haney and Garcia. And I know it was for different reasons,
contest, yeah.
But I think they'll make it a no contest because
it should be though. Really, I think a no contest would be. I don't know. You could go on about it all day. I think it'd be harsh though. Like I think that's on the referee at the time to make that call. I think just feel weird to me if they go back and award Roach the win. Like get a rematch.
No, they won't do that.
They'll do no contest, mate.
They can't do that. So what they'll do is they'll do a no contest. Rather, they'll just void the result. Right? They can't make it. They can't give him a 10-8 and then award it to Roach. It'd cause so much uproar.
Just going to go through some comments, guys. Humble Crumble, evening. Hope you're well. Thanks very much for joining us. Price to stop Jonas. You're going to get into that one.
I don't want to I don't know whether
champs,
it's a
DJ
male
Pat.
or female crumble.
What's up, my friend? Hope you're well, DJ Pat. Evening, Luca. Thanks for being with us, my friend. Another one in Sweden, Håkan. Hope you're well, my friend. Glad you had a good night in Belfast last week for Crocker Donovan. We got David Roper. Hope you're well as well, my friend. Watched a good chunk of your pod with JFT last night. That was a great watch. So well done on that, boys. And yes, Luca, you are banging the money. The Steve Willis decision was way worse than Marcus McDonald.
100% it was. Just because, Well, mate, they're both bad. Look, both of those referees have something to answer to the Border Control and to the New York State Athletic Commission. And I don't think we'll be seeing either of them in the next couple of months.
Do you know why I think McDonald's was worse than Willis? Because he didn't stop the action. Crocker could have got killed on Saturday night. I know I'm being dramatic, but
you're not wrong though, mate.
Shots.
Yeah.
Or he could have got blinded, or Willis was more about he forgot the rule set and got caught up in the moment and realised that he's working for PBC on a home show. I think that was.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He started to count. Willis did. It was bizarre.
Yeah. So did McDonald. McDonald did that though. Oh, what's just that? 1, 2, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, we were in uproar watching it live. So I think they're both as bad as each other for different reasons. Ultimately, they both had a shitter, didn't they? Shit show. Absolute stinker of a performance from two of the supposed best referees in the game.
Yeah.
Jay, I get where you're coming from, mate, because you are right. Lewis Crocker was already beaten up. If that last punch that landed went the other way and he was carried out on his back, it's a completely different conversation. So, yes, you've gone to an extreme, mate, but it's also true. He was knocked down from that. So that was a possibility because of the beating he had taken.
Yeah, definitely.
I did say on Rope-a-Dope, sorry, mate, just a quick I did say last night, if you watch it back, he got a jump down rather than is knocked down. I think they both heard the bell. Because if you notice, he goes down like he's being shot, but he's holding his eye. Do you know what I'm saying? He goes, poof, my eye. And I'm like, a bit of an old Liam Cameron, Ben Whittaker there for a split second. But look, ultimately, you go till the ref pulls you off or tells you to stop. So we'll be arguing about this for forever.
Yeah. Look, it sets the narrative for a massive rematch that's inevitable. I know Billy's shooing it off, but look, it'll happen, boys. We all know it will. Money talks.
At some point, it may not be next, like we kind of hope it will be, but at some point we're going to get this rematch.
Well, Eddie said it himself. He said there's more money on the table probably for Crocker than in the Donovan fight than a Boots fight, and it's probably true, to be fair. So look, boys, we did the review on Sunday, so don't want to dwell too much on what happened last week. Let's get into this week. We've been spoiled lately with what's gone on. February 22nd was absolutely outstanding. Last week, again, another great night of fights, both sides of the Atlantic. This week's a little bit more sparse. Obviously, we're big MMA fans, so we've got a big UFC card Saturday. No boxing at all on Saturday night, boys. Friday night, however, we've got 2 cards over here. We've got the Channel 5 card, Eubank McKenna, Michael Condon returning to action on the undercard. But the main show is, of course, the all-female boxer show at Royal Albert Hall.
Any idea why it's Friday and not Saturday?
I don't know. It's weird that you get 2 shows clashing on a Friday night, isn't it? But I know Wasserman on Channel 5 tends to always go Friday night.
Their
never
contracts
really,
for Friday nights, so that's why Wasserman do that.
yeah, there was a
Strange
reasoning
stuff
behind
there.
Boxer doing the Friday night show, and I can't remember what it was.
International Women's Day is the 8th, so
Sorry,
they're
that's
doing
it.
it kind
That's it,
of a
Liam.
precursor. That's what their reasoning was. I don't
Yeah,
know why they're not just
Women's
going
Day.
on International Women's Day, but they're doing it as a precursor.
Yeah, look, you're right. You're right. So yeah, look, I guess, top to toe, I'm not gonna, dress it up. I'm not that interested in a lot of the card. I'll be completely honest with you, but of course we'll do its due diligence. The main event I'm very interested in. I think it's got potential to be one of the fights that I don't want to go as far as say fight of the year to catch myself on there, but I think it's going to be a good fight. Jonas against Habazin last time out, it was a great fight to watch. She's just game as anything. Natasha Jonas. I'm interested. Price is a heavy favorite in it, boys, but I'm interested to see what she looks like against Jonas's style. Now, look, Price could outbox her convincingly, possibly, and Jonas could go out there and stick it right on her from the first bell. I don't believe in the narrative around Jonas's age of being 40. I've just spoke with Liam about it before. I actually think she's getting almost better with age. Look at Beterbiev. I think he's another example of it as well. At 40 years old, fighting some of the best performances of his career. I don't think it's as big a thing as it's being made out to be. Jonas is 40. But yeah, look, I guess obviously we'll do our prediction shows tomorrow night or whatever. But what are your thoughts on the card? I know you've got Artingstall against Raven Chapman. Liam's just told me that's for the British title now. Caroline Dubois defending her belt on the undercard as well against Bomi Ray Shin. Yeah, what do you think of the card overall, boys?
Could have been better.
Yeah,
could have. Look, there could have been Savannah Marshall on the card. You could have had Caroline in with a better opponent. It's not as good as the one at the O2 2 years ago. I don't care about the narrative they're going to try and give us this week.
No way.
It's not on the level of the O2, and that's a reality when they done it with Clarissa Shields fighting Savannah Marshall when you had Baumgardner and Michaela Mayer. The main event's fantastic, but as Sam, you just said when you were talking to me for my show, it's without this main event, there isn't the interest from us probably there. We'd watch it, but the main event, we'll build up to it all night. It sort of draws you into it a bit more. You could actually say it's easy to pick who's going to win every other fight on the card other than the main event, if that makes sense. Although there's world titles on it and a British title on it, it's not the most 50-50 of cards. It's probably 70-30, 80-20s in some cases across the bill, really.
Yeah, it's a tough watch, is the card, but the main event possibly makes up for that. 2 unbeaten fighters.
Oh, mate, if without the main event, it's a nothing card. Let's be completely honest.
It's dead.
I'd watch the Channel 5 card if it wasn't for the main event.
Yeah, and before anyone starts, obviously Tasha Jonas has lost twice. It's a joke. She's my favourite fighter because I fancy her. So she's unbeaten as far as I'm concerned. But no, in all seriousness, I need to put my professional hat back on. It's an intriguing fight. People are saying a changing of the guard, etc. But as you said, Sam, regardless of Tasha's age, she's not past it. She's not on the slide. People are waiting for her. Every fight is, she's still got it. She's as young as you can be at that age, if that makes any sense. We've got to remember as well, she took time out. She became a mum. She completely stepped away from boxing and did work in the community. She does a lot of community work. I think she did sort of work with social services, care work, that type of working within the community. So it's not as though she's gone from elite amateur straight through to the pro. She's sort of had a break, had a child, worked a little bit. So she's had that rest. She's a natural athlete, a football. Her sister's a top-level professional footballer. So she's from a sporty family. Yeah, that's 1-0, Rodrigo. Sorry.
You're good, mate. I've just seen it as well. You can...
Great goal, by the way. Great goal.
Great finish.
Anyway, back to it. Yeah, I don't think age is going to be an issue. I've got a horrible feeling that Lauren Price is going to miss weight. And don't ask me why.
I love it. He always comes out with them, doesn't he?
I've got a horrible feeling. Her arms are massive. They're extraordinarily big. Some might say. Not me. Some might say.
Yeah.
She's a big girl. I'm just saying. And she looked tight at the weight last time. I'd be surprised if she missed it. But for some reason, this week, I've just looked at her in the build-up. It was did you see when they had that little bit and Tasha got mixed up that she thought sheed beat her in the Worlds? And
that was funny. And she's like, nah, that wasn't me.
but Tasha took it in her stride and she just went, sound, and carried on.
It's good. Yeah. All right, then, fair enough.
The other thing I said to Sam as well is, yes, okay, look, Lauren Price isn't the youngest of fighters either. She's 30, she's 31 at the end of March. The reality is, in the female side of boxing, the jump from amateur to pro isn't as big as it is on the male side because the talent pool isn't there and because you tend to cross over slightly later because that's when the opportunities are going to be there for you as a pro. So the narrative of Tasha Jonas at 40, she's past it. Well, she didn't win a world title until she was 36. She's had the best years of her career in the back end of her 30s, now into her 40s. So that narrative doesn't buy for me. The only, it's if Lauren Price is as good as people think, then Lauren Price should be looking to make a statement on Friday night. But Tasha Jonas hasn't done anything in her career how she should do it. She had to draw with Terry Harper at fight camp. She just lost to Katie Taylor. And then Katie Taylor.
So that's the issue for me. Not the issue, but people are going on about how good a boxer Lauren Price is. People forget that Jonas went toe-to-toe with Katie Taylor.
Yeah. That was narrow, razor thin.
Yeah, I feel like she's being wrote off just a little bit in this fight.
Yeah, obviously not by us, but by some. They're saying that, Lauren Price has just got to turn up. Especially when they're getting a stoppage in her last fight as well. But she throws out.
I was told that there's places in America that won't take money anymore on Price has been backed in that much.
Wow.
That just shows you how big people are and winning the fight on Friday.
Well, it'll be just like Tasha to go in there and absolutely flatline her then, won't it?
The thing that doesn't help is the narrative that's being given from Boxer and from Sky is this the changing of the guard? It's the older fighter against the young up-and-comer. Like
Sky want Price to win.
Of course, look, Sky know that Price will, as Jay's already alluded up the weight, she'll bounce through another 2 weight divisions over the next 3 or 4 years. That's just the reality with Lauren Price. And, the golden girl of Welsh boxing, as she's been nicknamed, look, she needs to keep winning for that narrative to work for Sky. So, and at the end of the day, Tasha Jonas is on her way out. Whether this is her last fight, whether she has one more afterwards, they're also thinking long term. And if you actually look into this fight, it's a very close fight between someone that's been there and done it and is still producing, and someone who looks like they have all the potential to get there and beyond. But we just haven't seen them do it yet. This is the time to show whether you are where the hype is at or whether you're just a little bit below it for me.
Yeah, just going to get through some comments, boys. Delighted about this that Pat said. I saw that myself. Jim Lampley back in the game. That's going to be, that was going to be great. Yeah, unbelievable atmosphere. Hawkeye, we were chatting amongst ourselves before we went on Saturday how great the atmosphere was. Must have been electric to be in there. Yeah, Savannah could have been on there, Luca. I know that I had the issues, but she would have bulked it up, mate, definitely. Pat's with Jonas winning the fight. This will go the distance. She'll take Price on points. That'll get you in Jay's good books. Don't worry about that, Pat. For me, what stands out is Fran Hennessy and how they treated her. She should be on the main card, and it's not how shameful. Yeah, her relationship's looking a bit fractured with Boxer at the moment. Hawkan's back on Friday. He's back for this card too. Hawkan putting in some stint at the moment.
He's been getting some wins like me, man.
Fair play. You won the lottery recently, Hawkan. Luca, this is a great comment. Jonas 9-2, Raven Chapman 7-2, McKenna 9-2. Would be shocked if all three lose. That is a great comment, Luca. I agree with it on that.
That
there's an upset somewhere, Jay.
I think I've just found the treble there.
Cheers, Luca. You just set Jay up for the weekend.
You didn't retire last week. You're definitely retiring this week. I love it. On the subject of the rest of the card, then, boys, outside of Price and Jonas's, the Dubois fight. Any interest in that one, or obviously Karis Artenstall against Raven Chapman?
Look, Dubois' opponent. It's her first time up at this weight class, so she's always boxed below it. She had a split decision loss to Delphine Persoon last year, so you can take something from that, maybe, that she's going to have a bit about her, and she's got 10 stoppages in her 17 or 18 wins. But look, it's just another fight we're getting from Caroline Zawa. Let's applaud the fact that she's out again 7 weeks after a draw with Jessica Kamara. And let's be honest, she was on her way to winning that fight. But hopefully this is the last one before we see her in bigger fights. We all four seeing her move through the gears. We love seeing her aggressive come forward style. But at some point, she needs to take that next leap before she stagnates against lesser opposition.
Yeah, I agree. We need to see a performance. She needs to start moving on instead of sort of ticking over. I'd like to see a sort of standout performance and make a statement. I know we say that flippantly, but I think it's time now.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
funny. Sorry, mate. She's ticking over almost as if you expect a pro when they first turn over to do. But the difference is she's a world champion, so she shouldn't be doing these tick overs anymore. It should be steps and steps each time. I mean, for what it's worth, this is her IBO mandatory, so you wouldn't want to lose Jay's favourite belt. So she's trying to keep that one on side for when she does get big invitations.
I don't do small bets, Luca.
I love it. Dave said if Karis stops Chapman, definitely unlikely, but you never know. Could set up a Nicholson fight next. Yeah, that's a fair shout. Didn't think of that. She beat Sky in the 2020 games. Hawkan's got Lauren Price on points. Yes, Hawkan. It's an interesting matchup for sure. Karis against Chapman. Chloe Watson against Zapot Sinza is a good fight on the undercard. Excuse my pronunciation of that one.
That's for the Commonwealth, isn't it?
It's for the Commonwealth. Boys, any interest in Brighton? Harlem Eubank against Tyrone McKenna. They'll probably clash, won't they? Obviously, we'll prioritise Jones.
I'm interested because it's Tyrone McKenna, not because of it.
Yeah. Well, I said Eubank, this, mate.
I believe this is the Eubank that should be fighting Conor Benn because he's a similar weight division.
Because he's a 147.
Senior actually said he was the one that should be fighting Conor Benn. It's the fight I'd have preferred to see. All right then, Luca. Would you like me to show you how much I won at the weekend, Luca? Send me an inbox, brother. But I want 100 quid to
I love it.
Yeah.
There's clunkers on the table here. There's for the EBU. Have you two seen how much I won at the weekend?
We have.
They have, Luca.
Oh, dear.
Look, I think
trying to stay humble.
Right,
Jay, you've just said it, mate. I mean, the main events will clash because Wasserman won't go on Channel 5 till 10 o'clock. So there you go. You're getting a clash with the main events. And Harlem Eubank is the watch-along from his last fight. It's probably the only time we've struggled doing a watch-along in all the ones we've done since we started doing this. And that's not, and Sam agreed with me. It's like, that's not being rude. That was a hard 8 rounds. And Tyrone McKenna's retired more times than he's had fights across the last 4 years. So it's kind of, where's he at in terms of coming back? And I know he had a win in December, but again, off the back of retiring. And does Harlem care? Look, he's 30. He's 20-0. We know he was set up to fight Adam Azim and they wanted to avoid Dalton Smith or whatever. We never got to see it. But other than that, the best name on his record that he's actually fought is Sean Dodd. And that was back in 21 or 22. So, exactly. So at some point, we need to see something from Harlem Eubank, don't we?
Yeah, I agree with Luca there. No, I was only joking as well. I'm not a massive bettor, but I bet big. These boys know how much I won. It was a considerable amount of money, mate. Enough to buy a nice new car.
Good comment on Tyrone McKenna. Like I said to you, Liam, earlier, you've got Eubank. He's never
great podcast as well with.
He does. Yeah, what's it called? Whiskey and Wine or something. It's called with Tommy McCarthy, who just retired at the weekend.
Natural comedian.
Yeah, you've got Eubank, who's never in a good fight. McKenna, who's never really in a bad fight. So who's going to win out? And is it going to be a good one or a bad one? Look,
I think McKenna will win, mate.
Yeah, it's possible.
I don't rate Eubank. I don't know, I don't rate
Mate, it wouldn't at all surprise me if he did. That's the reality. Mate, we don't know where Harlem Eubank is.
Did you not see it when Senior was with him, talking about him to be the one to fight Ben? And you could see that Senior himself didn't believe it as he was saying it, but he had to say it as his uncle, I believe. Is Danny, the one that died, Chris's brother? He called Danny. He boxed as well, didn't it?
Seb was the brother that passed away.
Yes, that's it.
No, boys. I'm talking about Chris Senior.
I'm
talking about Eubank's dad, it was Chris Eubank Senior's brother. He boxed as well, and I think he was called Danny Eubank, Harlem's dad. Because Chris is not his dad, is he? Chris is his uncle. His dad's not around. His dad passed away. His dad fought too, but to a lesser level of. I'll find it. I think he was called Danny or Peter for some reason.
Look, regardless, Senior's obviously said this about Harlem and didn't believe it, but he's got to do his job. Tyrone McKenna is the type of fighter that can expose someone. And 2 or 3 years ago, I probably would say with a bit more conviction that he would beat Harlem Eubank. Now I'm just not sure where he's at in his own boxing journey, if that makes sense. Peter, okay.
Yeah, Peter was a boxer as well. Sorry.
No, you're all good, mate. Look, it's amazing, isn't it? We're glad, obviously, as mixed martial arts fans, that we're going to have no clashes this week because everything's on a Friday. But the 2 main events and the 2 best fights out of the 10 or 11 between the 2 cards are going to be on at the same time.
Yeah.
Sorry, my mistake. Simon Eubank was Harlem's dad. It was Simon that passed away. Peter's still alive. So I do apologise, Mr. Eubank. You are still alive.
glad we've
cleared that one up before any letters come through.
I apologise, Mr. Eubank. You are still alive. That's the best quote I've ever heard.
I got wishing him dead, and I got it wrong. I don't know.
Mate, it's the hands. It's the way your hands.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this week, boys, we can maybe talk about some of the goings on in boxing rather than maybe the upcoming action. So, as Pat alluded to earlier, Jim Lampley is back. There's a card in Times Square, 3-fight card. The presser is going to happen in about an hour, I believe. You got Ryan now, is it? Okay, you got Garcia against Rowley. You've got Devin Haney against Ramirez, and you've got Tio against Barboza. For me, that's probably the best fight on the card, Tio Barboza. But yeah, what do you think, boys, of the New York Times Square card? I think there's going to be, obviously, like invite-only crowd and all this jazz. It'd be interesting to see how it happens. But, for a fight card of 3 fights, it's put it this way, actually. You got that on the Friday, Canelo in Saudi on Saturday, but that's going on US pay-per-view time. You got Munguia, Surace on the undercard, Bacoli against a Jag, but Billy let that slip in an interview that I watched the other day. He's going to be on the Canelo card as well. And then Inoue in Vegas on Sunday night. Apparently that's going to be 3 days in a row, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of May.
Yeah, look, Times Square first. Turkey's dreams are coming out into fights again. It's a bit like when he done the Day of Reckoning fight cards, and it was as many of the names we've all heard from the last 5 years all on one fight card. This is another one of his crazy dreams that because he's got so much money, people are letting him do kind of thing. It's a fantastic concept, but the fights are what intrigue me most. Look, Tio Lopez and Barbosa Jr. replacing Bacoli Jagba is fantastic. Look, Barbosa showed us what he's about against Jack Catterall. We questioned his heart, whether he had it. When he proved that, and he's already stuck it on Tio today, Jay. I'm not sure.
Oh, mate, that was quality. Stuck it right on Tio.
Let's just say one. Let me just say this. You see how quick they've made the Barbosa fight? I fucking guarantee you, if Catterall had won, he would not be fighting. No. He would not be fighting Tio. Tio, you're a fucking shitbag. You're an absolute
Tio's seen a hole in there.
Punch his head in.
Well, look, Barbosa's going to be a tough out for Tio. If Tio switches off like he did against Cambosos, like he did against, was it Sandor Martin he fought?
Yeah.
Sandor Martin.
He switched off a few times.
I don't think I've got it anymore. Have I still got it? I don't think I've got it anymore, is what he said.
Yeah. It's a fantastic, for a 3-fight card, they are 3 fights that you're intrigued in. I mean, Haney and Garcia, are we intrigued in? Because if they both win, they're going to fight each other. That is kind of the reason we are, but it's a good fight card. The Saturday night is Canelo Skull. We know why he's doing it. He's going for the legacy of 2-time undisputed at 168. I don't have an issue with it. I'd rather see him doing this than the Jake Paul or any other nonsense that's been spoken about. And as good as it is to see Inoue fighting, mate, it's going to be an American pay-per-view against someone like David Picasso, who we expect him to beat quite comfortably. So it's good, mate. And it's on a bank holiday weekend for us. So there's positives for us over in the UK. Yeah. Imagine it as 1 fight card. That's all I'm going to say is imagine all of this, because it's not like Turkey to spread things out like this. You normally would put all of this together on 1 card, wouldn't you? This would be
Well,
one
yeah,
Riyadh
to be
season
fair, I
pass.
don't think he's involved in the Inoue one. That'll be a top rank card. The Inoue.
Yeah, no,
one.
that's true. He's got the sponsorship, hasn't he? He's got the Riyadh season partnership.
Yeah,
We've still seen
Inoue
how
will
big that
fight
is
in
in the
Riyadh
nations.
later in the year, I think. But yeah, next thing to talk about, boys. Big up to Mickey, who's joined us, and of course, Jam's boxing chat from Boxing Media
Jam.
Hub. Thanks, Jams. Hope you're well, my friend. Big up to the Boxing Media Hub team. Mickey, thanks for joining us, my friend. Obviously, another one who was at the Crocker Donovan fight on this past weekend. Boys, Joe Joyce is out. Dillian Whyte is out of the Joe Joyce fight on April the 5th. I must admit, I'm not that gutted about it, to be honest. Slim chance, but Wilder would be amazing. Really would.
No.
Just, Jay, to piggyback off that, Jams has put, as for White's replacement, I told you boys earlier, didn't I? Jermaine Franklin's name was
it'd be
put out
someone
there.
shit like that. Charles Martin.
Yeah, I don't hate Hrgovic.
What be Hrgovic? I don't think it'll be someone shit. They want Joyce to try win, I think. They're going to try get him to win. I don't think they're going to take a risky fight. Hrgovic will beat the dog. Well, I say that. You never know, but
I think Hrgovic has got a few problems with his heart, you know. I think he's got a few problems when he gets stuck on him. I think Zhang stuck it on him, and I think Dubois stuck it on him. And he I know with the Zhang fight, he had a lot going on personally. I believe he just lost his father, so you can't hold that performance against him or anything. But Dubois definitely stuck it right on him, and he melted when he did.
Yeah, look, going back to the fight getting called off, when I first saw it being called off earlier, it wasn't, oh, okay, fine, right, let's see what they make the main event. It wasn't stopping me in my tracks. I think, the question that has to be asked is Dillian Whyte injured, or is the fact that he never cooperated with the border control and fought off of an Irish license for his last two fights, is that suddenly an issue? Because obviously he had to fail test before the AJ rematch. He never addressed anything.
Yeah, but they cleared him of that, didn't they? They proved that it was a contaminated supplement.
Okay, so no, just wondering, because how many fighters at the moment are getting injuries going into fights? We've had a lot of cancellations already this year of fights. They'd both be better retiring, and we said it when this fight was made. For me, if Joyce and Whyte never fought,
someone like Big Baby, maybe.
I think Tony Yoka will be in the mix. I think that's the reality. I think you're looking at Franklin or Tony Yoka, someone like that.
I feel for Hrgovic though, because I lost my father too.
Yeah,
he went out for milk in 1977. So if anybody's seen him, give us a shout, please.
Fuck's sake. Ryan Hong, thanks for joining us as always, my friend. The presser will be fire. Jay's on form tonight, I tell you. Franklin will beat Joyce, Lucas says. Yeah, to be fair, I wouldn't back against him. Jalalov's got to get going, Dave. I agree with you, mate. He's a future world champion, in my opinion, but he has to get the opportunities. Top rank have to get to work.
For Joe Joyce, David Price. What's he called? Mahmudov.
Oh, Mahmudov, yeah. God, him against Joyce would be like watching it in rewind, wouldn't it? Minus 2.
I was going to say, if you thought Joyce and Chisora was just in flipping first gear the whole fight, that'd be even worse him against Mahmudov.
I actually knew yesterday morning, but was sworn to see. We all knew yesterday morning, Jams. It was all
finger injury.
Fair enough.
Look, it's
injury.
From a Queensbury point of view, it's obviously a nightmare. It's your first fight on your deal with DAZN. It's your main event for that, and you've lost it a month. I mean, the blessing is it's happened a month out rather than 2 weeks out, so there's time to get an opponent in. But it's not. It wasn't the most attractive of main events anyway. Tony Yoka, you can sell on the narrative of the Olympic final. No one really cares. Jermaine Franklin probably beats Joe Joyce. Tony Yoka
cares, though. That's the problem now. Nobody cares. We didn't really care when it was Joyce versus White, really. We'd watch it, but no one really cares. There's nothing riding on it. There's nothing to the fight. There you go. Possibly. It'd be Takam or someone like that. It'd be someone shit that they're going to try get him a win.
Did Joyce fight Takam before?
No. Yes, he did. Yeah, he beat him at Wembley Arena. Yeah,
sure he did. Fight Takam. Yeah.
Cody
Riap was interesting.
Main event.
Yeah. I don't hate that. I don't hate it at all.
That's the best match fight on the card. Akoli Riakporhe is the best match fight on that card. It's you got flipping Adelaide and TKV. Adelaide wins that inside a couple of rounds. The best fight is a Cody Riakporhe. But they want Joe Joyce fighting. Look, for whatever reason, he didn't fight in Bournemouth on Saturday night. And obviously, he's had this one penciled in. So they're going to want him fighting. But no one cared before. Like Jace just said, we didn't care really when it was made. But we said, okay, we'll watch it. There's enough on the undercard. And now, if it is someone like Jermaine Franklin or Tony Yoka, it's, all right, Joe Joyce is still fighting. But it doesn't, whet your appetite or get you excited.
No, unfortunately, not. Jam said both only lost to CBS at Cruiser, pushed up to main event. Yeah, Joyce in with Yoka or Franklin, get that relegated and get that one up to the main event. Yeah, I like the idea of that, to be fair. Queensberry want to deliver because it's their first one on DAZN, isn't it? Outside of that going on, obviously that press is about to start. I'll maybe keep an eye on it myself. I heard Jaya Pataya is going to get a fight announced soon. I wonder
he's announced it himself. He said his announcement is coming.
Wonder will it be Zerdo?
Well, no, because the rumours have come out. Zerdo's defending his 2 belts against, I can't remember who, but it's not against Opatai made this announcement, and then Zerdo.
Dorticos, is he not?
Dorticos, that's it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but anyways, Opatai made this announcement himself, and then Zerdo suddenly putting himself in the short window for a fight.
Yeah, it's
all naked, yeah.
Oh, Luca, you've just done it, mate, haven't you?
Jay loves Sol Dakers, he does, to be fair.
My boy.
Before we seen the back of Sol Dakers after December, but
yeah.
Everyone needs work.
Yeah, but to be fair, boys, a little bit of a shorter show this week, to be fair, because there's not much really going on else in the world of boxing. I mean, any other talking points that you boys want to bring to the, or anyone in the chat wants to bring to the Ford? I had all those on my list that everyone put in about White being out of the Joyce fight, the TO card, presser today, Opataya's fight news. But outside of that, I haven't really got a whole lot.
Not
Terry
a lot
Harper's
going on, really,
fighting in Doncaster.
We covered.
Yeah, you had that GBM card announced.
Yeah, you got the GBM card announced, haven't you? Terry Harper's fighting.
Maxi's on it, isn't he? There's a few others. It's not the worst card, to be fair. But yeah, outside of that, boys, I think it's just been a quiet enough. There's not that much boxing on this week. I'm only saying that there's 2 cards, but we've been so spoiled lately with what's gone on. It's kind of like, oh, what, you're just giving us 2 Friday night cards now, are you? Well, that's no good. We'll just do a half an hour episode this week then.
It'll be a busy week for us next week because we've obviously got the 2 cards. We've got UFC 313. So there'll be a lot for us to talk about next week. It just so happens that we did our review shows on Sunday, like we started doing for instant reaction.
Yeah. Remind me, Jay, who's on next week? I can't even think. My head's gone blank.
Nick Ball, TJ Dehenny.
Nick Ball, Dehenny. Yeah. Who else is on?
Andrew Kane, Charlie Edwards is on that card, and you've got who's Belusa coming over to fight? Belusa's
he's fighting.
Another one of the Queensbury prospects. Who's he?
That's just reminded me. Where's Dennis McCann's announcement? Do you remember?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's a couple of weeks ago.
That's gone quiet, hasn't it?
Ready for this?
That was December the 19th or something. Oh, there you go. Keith Thurman's fighting midweek next week against Brock Jarvis.
He's fighting Brock Jarvis on Wednesday.
That's
Wednesday lunchtime.
One time.
And then there's a Japanese card on Thursday next week. Ball Dehenny. Strand is fighting Beluta.
Strand, that's it. Yes, you got those 3 fights on that, and look.
And then Austin Allen Williams is fighting, and Belanga on the same card, and Hackett in America, and then you've got that Callum Walsh is fighting in MSG in the small.
Me and Dave at Rope-a-Dope were talking last night. I'd like to see him and Paddy Donovan square off me. That'd be a fight.
Callum Walsh?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's interesting because he's backed by Dana and that, isn't he?
I said this last week, didn't I? It's kind of the next step for Paddy if he came through Crocker. And even still, if we're not going to get the Crocker fight immediately, that wouldn't be the worst fight in the world to do, would it?
Nah.
Yeah.
He's probably have to go to America.
Back of that performance, though. It's a tough fight for both of them, though. It's very evenly matched fight. I don't know who had favour in that fight.
Callum needs to start having some names. He's built up a great fan base. He's getting looked after superbly, but he now needs to make those step ups in names. And hopefully after what he does.
they can't overturn it, Jams. They can only null and void it. They won't overturn it and award a win to the opposition. It's too messy. They'll just nullify it and put it as a no contest.
Should be a no contest, shouldn't it? Really, that's
absolutely
incredible if they do. Flipping.
As should the weekend more than a DQ. It should have been a no contest.
Yeah,
because the referee messed up. Really, that you could say that led to the punch after the bell with him not being there to separate them. And I would have preferred it to be. Well, I wouldn't have preferred it to be a no contest. Maybe now. After I've been paid out, but no, it probably should be a no contest. But yeah, not on Saturday night.
Yeah, no,
definitely.
Like,
so I was going to say, Johnny Fisher, Dave Allen rematch is getting announced tomorrow by the sounds of it.
Oh, really? Well, that's the right decision. To be fair, I don't mind that. They need to run that back. It'll be a.
Yeah, I don't mind it at all. Do it in a copper box, Wembley Arena, somewhere like that. It'll sell. Eddie can put a good domestic card on that. That's what needed to happen. You didn't want to see Johnny circumnavigate around and sort of never answer that question because he was properly tested.
If he's good enough, is he good enough to beat Dave Allen? Because if not,
exactly, he might not be. He might not be based on what we saw in Saudi. There's Jams and Dave talking about Thurman. Strambaluta, definitely a good one. Big up to Jibs Mercer. Thanks for joining us. Really well here. Hope you are too. Saluting to Jams as well. Hawkins telling us about kicking against Gonzalez on Pro Box live and free. I'd imagine that's on YouTube. Big up to Pro Box for doing that. Apparently the cam because the replay. I heard that they had a replay on because I remember watching it live and everyone was telling me, but it didn't work. So if that is the case and the replay stopped it from being ruled a knockdown, then there is cause potentially to turn it over, boys. I don't know. It could be. It's interesting, man. I'm interested, but I agree with what you say. It's a massive call to overturn that and award a win to Lamont Roach. That is massive.
But so also, would it surprise us?
No contest probably is the bailout, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but nothing surprises us in boxing anymore. If they did do it, it would just be another day in boxing.
Tank loses his O outside of the ring. Devin got his back outside the ring, and Tank loses his outside the ring. But yeah, look, shorter show this week, boys. You may as well leave it there. We'll do our predictions tomorrow night for maybe a couple of them. If anyone's into the UFC, we'll do some UFC content this week because that's a big one. Jam said Lamont's posted saying your boys.
Oh, what a goal!
Who scored?
Atletico Madrid. What a goal! Julian Alvarez. Come on!
Jay's got his Atletico shirt on now. He'll be posting slips all over the place in a minute. Big up to Jam's Boxing Chat, Hawkan, Jibus Mercer, David Ropadope, Luca, Ryan Hong, all the regulars, as always, DJ Pats, the main man, Hawkan, and Humble Crumble. Thanks very much for joining us, guys. We'll be back tomorrow for the prediction segment for the week. We'll be back Friday night for the watch-alongs for the big fights, Saturday night for UFC 313 if you like your MMA. And as Pat says, big up, Pat. Until next time, we'll see you later, guys. All the best.
Cheers. Thank you.
Top man, Jams. Cheers, mate.